Okay, welcome to our forum for candidates for the Cloverdale City Council. I'm Susan Novak, a member of the League of Women Voters of Sonoma County and the moderator for tonight's forum. This forum is co-sponsored by the Cloverdale Chamber of Commerce, thank you, and the League of Women Voters. Neither group has endorsed a candidate in this race. The League is a political organization of women and men which promotes informed and active participation of citizens in government. We never endorse candidates or political parties. We do, after careful study, take positions on certain issues. The Cloverdale Chamber of Commerce is dedicated to the success of Cloverdale businesses and works to grow a strong local economy. The format will be as follows. Each candidate will make a 2-minute opening statement, speaking in order of lot drawn. I will then rotate the order of candidates as they give 1-minute responses to questions. All questions will be sorted by League members to avoid duplication. Finally, each candidate will have 2 minutes to make a closing statement. Our timer this evening is Anita Lytle. Anita, please raise a paddle. She's sitting in front of you. She will show a 30-second warning sign before your time is up, and a stop sign when your time really is up. At the stop sign, please complete your sentence and then stop. Time limits are closely followed to ensure fairness to everybody. There are 8 candidates running for 2 seats on the Cloverdale City Council. 6 candidates are here tonight. They are in the order seated: Melanie Bagby, Marianne Brigham, Paula Wren, Jason Turner, Bob Cox, and Keith King. 2 candidates regrettably were not available to attend this evening and extend their apologies. I will be reading their 2-minute opening statements. I'll begin with the statement of James Lucchini. I'm running for City Council to give our community a new voice that allows us to strengthen our community while putting forth creative policy solutions to address our most pressing issues. These issues include efforts to strengthen our local economy, facilitate job growth, invest in our neighborhoods, and community services such as roads, parks, and water infrastructure, and help support our youth and schools. As a business manager, I spent more than 20 years building a record of success built on innovation, collaboration, and vision to deliver results. As a board director for the Sonoma County Tourism Bureau and Cloverdale Chamber of Commerce, I've worked with residents across our community to promote all Cloverdale has to offer, helping facilitate a vital and sustainable path towards our community's social and financial health. It's time to bring this new kind of leadership to the City Council to forge a path to success and prosperity for our community, one that facilitates the creation of more locally owned businesses and helps improve the quality of life for our children, seniors, working families, and all those who call our small town community home. More must be done to strengthen our economy and quality of life, and as your City Council member, I'll put words into action and make meaningful progress on important economic development and quality of life issues for the betterment of our community. I respectfully ask for your vote to serve you on the Cloverdale City Council. If you have any questions or concerns about the future of our community, please don't hesitate to call me at 484-7836 or visit my website, lucchiniforcouncil.com, to learn more. Thank you for your consideration. Okay, now we have a statement from Sandy Crayford. I have been a resident of Cloverdale for the past 49 years. I graduated from Cloverdale High School and raised my 2 children here. I have served as a volunteer in the opening of the Boys and Girls Club of Cloverdale, sat on the first board of Project Graduation, served on the board of Little League and on Boy Scouts of America. Over the years, I've seen a lot of changes happen in our town, good and bad. The good being, our town is still a wonderful place to raise your family, have a voice in the governing of our city, and have the safety to enjoy the small town atmosphere and security. The bad is the infrastructure of our town, the inability of small businesses who took the risk of starting their business here to succeed, and potential businesses being able to proceed with starting their business in our town in a timely manner. I feel that the time for change has once again come to our community. Our community needs to vote to make that change happen. I have spent time talking with the people of Cloverdale, and one of their concerns is their inability to reach City Hall employees by phone. We are not that large of a city that those who work in our public offices cannot answer the phone. I am concerned with the new homes being built, which would bring more residents to Cloverdale. I am concerned that those new homes would put an even higher demand on our water resources. It is important to me that we have enough water to serve our present community members and potential new members. I must say that after meeting with our city manager, I was assured that Cloverdale does have plenty of water. Lastly, I'm concerned with the infrastructure of our town and the city's plan to maintain our streets, public parks, and the city's ability to attract and keep business in Cloverdale. My commitment is and always will be to the community of Cloverdale. Okay, now it's going to be your turn. So let's see. We are going to begin with Melanie Bagby, who drew lot number 1. Okay.
Thank you, Susie. Well, good evening. I'd like to thank the Cloverdale Chamber of Commerce and the League of Women Voters for hosting tonight's forum. This is an important night for our community because we face a number of challenges in a changing world. One of the biggest factors in this change is technology. Recent advances have the potential to make our lives better, bring costs down, and help government be more efficient. Going forward, what cities need is an understanding of technology and the benefits it brings, far beyond simple internet availability. With my skill set as a technology professional, coupled with my 7 years experience on the Planning Commission and 5 on the Sonoma County Economic Development Board, I bring a unique perspective to the challenges that we face today. The intersection of our community's opportunities and challenges and my skill set is what motivates me to ask for your vote. With this practical experience comes relationships that I have throughout the region that can benefit our community. After serving on the EDB as a representative from Cloverdale to the county's White House recognized Climate Action 2020, and having given testimony at city boards and commissions on our urban growth boundary, community separators, Sonoma compost, and other regional issues, I've forged the relationships and reputation to represent Cloverdale and represent us effectively, where the decisions about important resources are often made. Because I'm self-employed, I have the flexibility to pull my weight and serve on my share of the 6 subcommittees and the 16 regional boards that take up much of the 20 to 30 hours a week you need to commit to do a good job as a Cloverdale council member. If you'd like more information about me and why I'm running and my list of endorsements, including Sonoma County Conservation Action and Sierra Club, please go to my website, www.melaniebagby.com, and I'm also on Facebook at Melanie for Cloverdale.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Mary Ann Brigham.
Hi, thanks everybody for coming. I was born and raised on a dairy farm in northern Wisconsin. I attended public schools through high school, went to private college, and did graduate work in Guatemala for the Latin American Anthropological Foundation. My husband Michael and I have been together for 37 years. We made Cloverdale our home in 1978. I have served on city council for 14 years on and off since the 1990s. I was one of the founding members of the Cloverdale River Park, starting with that very small footprint by the First Street Bridge. This park is now one of the largest city-county parks in Sonoma County along the Russian River, and we now have over 70 acres along the river with public access. In the late 1990s, our city council partnered with the Senior Center to raise the $1 million needed to move the center from the Grange building to the new facility on Main Street. Now we have an active, vibrant senior center we're all proud of. The council's first 4 years of 2000 were dominated by the Downtown Boulevard project. To put new infrastructure down the boulevard, a full 4 blocks were dug up for months. This was a challenge to the businesses, one of which I owned, who needed to stay open. Working with the city and the businesses, we managed to creatively make it work. Cloverdale is fortunate to have a number of beautiful parks. Clark Street Park and the Tarman Track was not one of them. I personally met with neighborhood representatives for over 2 years, resulting in a rejuvenated park geared to the young families that live there. We changed a park known for gang activity and drugs into a park we can all be proud of, and the grand reopening was in 2007. Next, my focus turned to the Cloverdale Performing Arts Center. The first years were spent forming the nonprofit and putting the people together to ensure a successful theater. We brought this project forward $750,000 under estimated costs. Tonight, we sit in a state-of-the-art facility our community can truly be proud of, with an ongoing series of performances and a cooperative partnership with the History Center next door.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll now hear from Paula Wren.
I'd like to thank the League and also the Chamber, as well as the Cloverdale Performing Arts Center, for allowing us to gather here tonight. When I chose to come to Cloverdale in 2002, the community was alive with possibilities. It wasn't perfect. We had the boulevard construction underway. There were a lot of people who agreed and a lot who disagreed with some of the things that were going on. But it was a very vibrant and exciting time with lots of change and possibility. Today, I think we have even more possibilities to improve on what we already have. Cloverdale isn't perfect, but it just keeps getting better, in my view. Having attended hundreds of city council meetings as a representative of the Cloverdale Reveille, I have sat in on those meetings, and I applaud the members of city council for the hard work they have done. I will also tell you, it is a rare city council meeting when the room is this full. And that is one of the reasons that I find communication to be very important, because when I'm out there talking to people, there is misunderstanding about what goes on with city council, what the restrictions are that our city leadership operates under, and also what their plans are and how they come to that. As a result, I want to be a communications candidate, not only working toward bringing new, well-paying jobs, providing housing equity, and assuring that our children and older adults have what they need to thrive in this community. I want to make sure that I can participate in that and work with you by communicating with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we'll hear from Jason Turner.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. My name is Jason Turner. I grew up here in Sonoma County in unincorporated Sebastopol, and met my wife, Robin, in 2000, what was it, sweetheart, 7? And, you know, when I met my wife, she had grown up here, and I fell in love with Cloverdale. Not long after that, it became quite easy, and when we were able to save up enough money to purchase a home, Cloverdale became the easy choice. She's now pregnant with our first child on the way, due in December, and we really wanted to invest in the community the best way we knew how, which was to get involved. Currently, I sit as an alternate member of the Cloverdale Planning Commission, and wanted to take that next step in my commitment towards Cloverdale and really show you that I have the passion to bring new ideas and a sense of efficiency to the way that we currently choose to do things. I believe that we can always ask why, and working with outside entities like chambers of commerce within Sonoma County and other people who have seen successes, we can continue to ask them why and how they saw success and market Cloverdale in a similar manner. And if you have any further questions or want to know any further details about me, I truly invite you to my website at turnerforcouncil.org. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Bob Cox.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the Performing Arts Center here in Cloverdale. It's nice to see the room so full. My name is Bob Cox. I currently serve on the City Council. First, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters, the Chamber of Commerce, and definitely the Performing Arts Center for hosting us this evening. 6 years ago, I was appointed to the City Council after serving 3 years on the Planning Commission. In 2012, I was elected to the council. These years have been the most rewarding and satisfying time of my life. At the time, it was difficult to find money. I was instrumental in obtaining a grant for the Safe Routes to School program and CDBG funding for economic development, which is a high-profile priority of mine. I am also the inveterate volunteer here in Cloverdale. As an example of that, I was involved in the reconstruction of this building, making it into the Performing Arts Center. If you'll look up, you'll see the ceiling, of which I painted most all of that myself, and the walls that surround you. So I enjoyed that very much. That was a labor of love. I am fortunate to have had the opportunity to contribute my time to the community. I'd welcome the chance to continue to serve you in the city of Cloverdale, on the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Keith King.
Good evening. My name is Keith King, or Charlie King, as most of the publications show. I'm 54 years old. I grew up in Cloverdale. I've been involved with the city of Cloverdale since the time I was 19 years old, as first a reserve police officer, and then a full-time police officer, a detective, a sergeant, interim chief. So I have a lot of history and a lot of knowledge of how the inner workings of Cloverdale, or the city of Cloverdale, work. I've been involved in writing grants. I've been involved in working on the budget, so I know very well how it all works. I know many people here, and many people know me. And as Bob Cox is joking with me, I'm probably related to half of them. Cloverdale needs work, and I agree with Ms. Crafer about somebody needs to answer the phone when the public calls City Hall. Phone tree just doesn't work so well in people's minds. But Cloverdale does have a lot of things good going for it. We've had a lot of change. We need change to continue, but it needs to be directed in the right way and the right time. So I think that with my historical knowledge of how things have worked in Cloverdale, I think I would be a great benefit to move things forward. So I'd like to thank you, and thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you. Okay, we're now ready for some questions. I have a few prepared questions from the Chamber of Commerce, and we will be having your questions brought to the stage fairly soon, I hope. So the first question will be answered by Mary Ann Brigham, and it is, the community constantly hears, we don't want to be another Healdsburg. You cannot build a vision on what you don't want to be. What is your vision for Cloverdale, and how do you propose to get there?
Well, I think it's impossible to become another Healdsburg, even if we did want to do it. Our demographics are very different from the demographics in Healdsburg. I think we need to support and encourage small business people in this town and make it possible for them to thrive. If that's a way to do that, if that is something that someone wants to do and they come, the first thing when they walk in the door of City Hall, they have to be greeted. They have to be talked to and have to be given instructions on what the codes say, how you can do this. If we can give them a little extra help and say, okay, you don't serve your coffee in a ceramic cup, use a paper cup. It'll stop this or that. They need that kind of just really basic advice. And I think it's up to the city to do that and to help them.
Thank you. Okay, Paula Wren.
Well, I believe that the vibrancy of the community really depends on jobs. Jobs have traditionally been the most difficult thing for us to recover as a community. And by jobs, I mean we need to get more living wage jobs in Cloverdale. So what I would like to do is support the small businesses here that want to grow, the individuals who want to start home-based businesses, and also encourage the companies who are looking at coming to Cloverdale to do so, especially if they are bringing living wage jobs to the community. So that's kind of where I see everything starting for us.
Thank you. Jason Turner.
I believe the way to avoid becoming a Healdsburg is a grassroots issue. The community makes themselves very clear that that is something that they don't want to be. And so we as a council can work towards finding the type of jobs and revenue that you as a community would like. We understand that the resources are finite, which means we have to be creative in the types of revenue that we bring in to ensure that it's concentrated with the return on the investment to the city.
Thank you. Bob Cox.
Thank you very much. When I moved here in 2001, we drove up from Danville, where we previously lived. We drove through Healdsburg, came to Cloverdale. That was an easy choice. Cloverdale is a unique environment. It's a unique community. And the biggest asset to the community is the people of Cloverdale, which definitely outshine Healdsburg. I see Healdsburg as the gateway to Cloverdale. So the future of Cloverdale is its people, as I said, and we do need jobs, which means economic development. I was a member of CAFE, a founding member of CAFE, and we instituted a micro-enterprise development workshop, putting several businesses in business here in Cloverdale. Very homegrown. Thank you.
Thank you. Keith King.
I'd have to agree with Marion Brigham that Cloverdale will definitely be a Healdsburg. It started out different. We were a lumber city. We've got a lot going for us in what we have around us with the lakes and river right in the middle of us. But we need to work with the community to decide where we need to go with projects such as the Times Square, skate park, dog park, many of those type of things. I really will never believe that Cloverdale can be a Healdsburg. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Melanie Bagby.
Well, I have to agree with the premise of the question. And I think we all agree here, we don't want to be Healdsburg, but we do have to agree on what we do want to be. And I think that there's been a lot of conversation around that, a lot of really positive conversation around that. We have so many amenities here and advantages to other parts of Sonoma County. We are lucky enough to be situated in the beautiful northernmost part of Sonoma County, a place where I grew up. But we share some of the challenges that so many other small towns across California and across our nation have, and that is that we need to be relevant in the 21st century, and that means that the council needs to concentrate on bringing amenities that people expect in urban environments, but they're going to get them in a small town, and I think it's a very important goal that we need to accomplish on the council.
Thank you. Okay, question number 2. Measure P is on the ballot this year. Do you approve of the measure? And what is your position on a cannabis dispensary and other related businesses in Cloverdale? Okay, and we're starting with Paula Wren.
As a person, personally, I have never been a big fan of marijuana per se, but it is the direction that we're going. It's what people want. And as such, that means that community leadership, state leadership, we have to get organized and manage this in the best way possible. I would like to see, if we are going that direction, that that we have an opportunity to attract businesses in that industry that will bring well-paying jobs, technical jobs, jobs that will require skill rather than just small retail environments.
Thank you. Jason Turner?
I think we can all agree that it's something that is moving forward in a progressive manner, and it's moving forward continuously. And we as a city have an opportunity to capitalize on a unique tax revenue by being comparable within Sonoma County. And that means looking to our neighbors to see what type of tax revenues they propose on dispensaries or commercial growth. With that, we can make sure that it's conducive to do business within Cloverdale, but we're not the cannabis capital of the world. We don't want it to be the one leg that we stand on, but I do believe that as a city, we need to entertain the idea of the revenue that it can generate for us and ours.
Thank you. Bob Cox?
Thank you. Measure P will allow City of Cloverdale to return some revenue to the city from the sale of marijuana to the distribution of marijuana to the production of marijuana. Here in Cloverdale, a dispensary probably would be a good idea because otherwise there will be one just outside our city limits reaping the benefits of that, and the revenue there would be going to the county. So in order for us to live in that world, we better put it together right here in our town.
Thank you. Keith King?
I have a different perspective of the whole marijuana thing as a law enforcement officer. I was in favor of Prop 215 for the medical marijuana. I thought it was a very good idea and it's necessary. But there were lots of problems with it. It caused all sorts of enforcement issues. I think Measure P would be very good because we need to be in the forefront of regulating it, having control of it. If we don't, it'll just be out of hand. So I think that it is a good idea to move forward with something that's well organized that will take care of the revenue for us.
Thank you. And I guess we're up to Melanie Bagby.
Well, I think it's important to understand that Measure P was put on the ballot by the city of Cloverdale as to put in place a mechanism so that cannabis production or facilities could be taxed in the future. And it was fiscally prudent. They put it on the ballot during a general election so that they didn't have to pay for a special election. So I have to compliment the two incumbents on the stage and the members of the council who are seated, because I just think it was a great money-saving effort. But it's really a separate question of whether or not I support cannabis production, and I think it can't be seen as it's going to solve all of our problems. It's definitely coming, it's going to be here, and it needs to be part of our economy, and part of the responsibility the council needs to take on is to make sure that they implement the right levels of permits so that the industry in Cloverdale is right-sized for Cloverdale.
Thank you. And Marianne?
I guess I want to be really clear about what Measure P really is. Melanie alluded to it also, but Measure P is not something that when you vote yes or no, I think you should vote yes. But the idea behind Measure P is if and when, probably when, we allow, our ordinances are in place and we allow dispensaries, transportation, manufacturing, we do have the ability to tax that business from 0 to 10%, depending on the license you buy. So, or not buy, but qualify for. So you are not really voting for any kind of regulation. You're just voting for the ability for us to tax it should it become a business.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll move to a question from the audience. The Cloverdale Airport loses money. Very few members of our community use it. What is your position on the value of the airport to the community? And we start with Jason Turner.
I believe that a lot of research needs to be done with the airport to determine its viability as a recreational facility, just as any other city would view a recreational facility. We need to ensure that we are getting a return on our investment as a city, even if difficult decisions need be made. I promise that I can do the research and would have the passion to do the research to ensure that the appropriate decision was made, but it would really have to depend on what we can see as a return on the investment. The city needs to ensure that it makes money in the coming years. Thank you.
Okay, Bob Cox?
The City Council has been discussing the airport for at least 2 years now over the viability of maintaining the airport here or changing it to some other venue. The airport is an important asset to our city. At most of the time, it has broken even. Lately, it has been running in the red for different reasons. I am on the city subcommittee that discusses the airport, and I believe that business can be created there in addition to the 2 that we have there now. It is, as I say, it's an important asset, and the cost to remove it would be very high and not beneficial to the city. Thank you.
Keith King?
I would agree with Bob on it would cost much for the city to remove it. There's a lot of asphalt there. That's expensive to get rid of. It's a hazardous chemical. The airport is very beneficial to the pilots in the area. Cloverdale is one of the only airports in this area that's typically fog-free. I was on a call a few years ago when a pilot called in distress that he was trying to follow 101 south from Ukiah area, but he couldn't find an airport. Cloverdale was the only one that was opened up, he could find, and we got in safely landing there. The airport has also been instrumental in firefighting. I think it would be amiss to close the airport to take that away from us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Melanie Bagby.
Well, unfortunately, on this question, I do not agree with the premise of the question. All you have to do is go online and take a look at the budgets from the last 5 years, and you'll see that the airport typically breaks about even. As to the statement that not many people use it, well, I see a couple of people in here who are pilots and who do use the airport. As far as it not being beneficial, all you have to do is look at the most recent Lake County fire and the fact that several of the firefighting helicopters found it as an essential base. So personally, I'm of the opinion, if I'm on the council, show me the money. Show me where the economic benefit is of taking a look at a change in the airport, and it's something that I'll look at, but you've got to bring me the facts so that I can make a decision that's based on fact.
Thank you. Mary Ann Brigham?
What she said. I have to agree 100%. I won't reiterate it,
I
but
can pass you my notes.
yeah, it's really logical. It was almost exactly what I was going to say, so go on.
Okay, and Paula?
Yes. I knew this question would come up, so I deliberately dug out the facts and the figures today to make sure that my position was solid. And very much like Ms. Bagby and Ms. Brigham, I agree that, the airport is almost self-sustaining. There have been some losses, but the losses have been greatly exaggerated. They're pretty nominal. And it would be outrageously expensive and also not necessarily guaranteed that we could close the airport as some people feel that we possibly could do. Additionally, my sense is that the taxpayers that live in the city of Cloverdale, by and large, the majority of them don't seem to want to close the airport. They want to have that airport there. They appreciate it for particularly the value it gives us when there is an emergency like the fires. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next question will start with Bob Cox, and the question is, what do you see in terms of progression for the SMART train in Cloverdale?
As many people know, I'm a big proponent of the SMART train. I'm also, I was a resident of the East Bay when BART got started. It's taken much longer for BART to get where it is than SMART to get where they are currently. The only drawback from bringing SMART to Cloverdale is money. And a large chunk of that money will need to go into the refurbishing of the rail bridge in Healdsburg. That's a very expensive item. Beyond that, it should go rather quickly. I see SMART coming to Windsor probably in 2 or 3 years. Probably, if we said 10 years to Cloverdale, I would be pretty close. And that is actually a very quick time.
Thank you. Keith King?
I think the SMART train idea is a great idea, but the cost that they're throwing out for one-way ridership is quite expensive, and it's going to have a difficult time maintaining itself until it gets to where Bob's talking about, 5 to 10 years for it to get here. Personally, I voted for it. I think it really is a great concept. We do need alternative transportation to the Bay Area, but let's just hope it works.
Thank you. Melanie Bagby?
Bob brings up a good point. The main sticking point for Cloverdale is the rail bridge at Healdsburg. And what we need is a concentrated political effort to make sure that we are united, to make sure that we get the resources that this community deserves. With that said, as you can tell, I'm a big supporter of the SMART train. And the reason is it's not the be-all and end-all, and it isn't the ultimate solution. It's a start to what we need to be doing. We have greenhouse gas emissions reduction requirements that are coming up that we're going to have to meet. And this community needs an economic interconnectivity with the greater Bay Area, which is we are part of, as part of California, we are the 6th largest economy in the world. Cloverdale needs to be connected to one of those hubs, and the SMART train is the start of how we do that.
Thank you. Marianne Brigham?
I'm also a big supporter of the SMART train. Like everyone, I was kind of disappointed when it was very obvious that we weren't going to see it for 5 years, 10 years. We don't know how long it's going to take. But I'm going to continue to support it because I think it's pretty critical to the transportation issues up here. We have a huge bus ridership, which many of you probably don't see, but especially student ridership. So the sooner the SMART train, the happier I'll be. And I just want to, there's one thing that is going around town and has been for years, is that Cloverdale was sort of silly and built the depot before the train came. Cloverdale did not build that depot. Cloverdale does not own that depot. So just to clear that up.
Thank you. Paula Wren?
Well, I'm a big fan of the idea of the SMART train, and I too am a little disappointed that it seems to, be just a little bit beyond our grasp right now. I do believe we have got to get people off of the freeway. That I think it will have a regular ridership from Cloverdale. We're a little bit of an island here, and as much as I love aspects of that, it is a challenge for many people in our community. It's a challenge for older adults. It's a challenge for young adults to get to services that they need that are located elsewhere. And I would, as a member of this council, if voted in, continue to keep it top of mind with our senator and our supervisor to keep the pressure on, because they know Cloverdale needs this and needs to join the rest of Sonoma County's economy.
Thank you. And Jason Turner?
I recall as I started my campaign this year, I met with a gentleman in Santa Rosa who belonged to the state SMART committee, and he said, it's coming. And so I think we as Cloverdale can embrace his confidence and just really look to the idea of a diverse ridership, not only being utilized within Cloverdale, but coming to Cloverdale. And what I found when I came here from other parts of Sonoma County is how close you are to areas like Dry Creek Road through this beautiful road called Dutcher Creek, etc., and being accessible to businesses. Being able to utilize a transient occupancy tax will be a lot more beneficial when people can come in on a mode of transportation that can guarantee them safe passage all the way back to the Bay Area. But we have to make sure that we as a city do our due diligence to ensure the state does their part, as well as the SMART Committee, in funding what we need.
Thank you. Okay, the next audience question. There is talk that bringing, quote, new ideas to the council. Please name one new idea that you might propose. And we begin with Keith King.
I'm all in favor of a dog park in Cloverdale. Most people aren't aware that on Railroad Avenue, the Caltrans owns the property directly across the street from the railroad station restaurant. Initially, 101 off-ramp was going to come off and onto Railroad Avenue with a signal light in off of Railroad Avenue. So Caltrans purchased that property many years ago for that purpose. So it's abandoned now. It would be an ideal location to set up a dog park that's much needed in Cloverdale.
Thank you. Okay, Melanie Bagby.
Well, that's a great idea, Keith, because that's how the residents in Santa Rosa got the Southeast Greenway going. So let's look into that, you guys, while you're... My idea is, it's just one thing, but it can be represented by just one word, which is Wi-Fi. I alluded to it in my comments earlier. I think that small towns have a very unique challenge, is that we, with the demographic shifts from small towns to urban areas, we need to make sure that we have the urban services that people from the cities, when they visit here or they move here, have come to expect. And that's the perspective that I will bring to the City Council.
Thank you. Marianne Brigham.
I've been working for the past few months on trying to find a location for Health and Human Services here in Cloverdale. For quite some time, I've thought that, okay, you need a service, you're a senior. You get on a bus, you have to go all the way down to Santa Rosa to see anybody, to go and talk to anybody, then you've got to go back down for appointments. We need Health and Human Services up here. It's been approved, and we're looking at spots now and trying to find the proper office space, which we may have now found. Also, Catholic Charities has agreed to bring 2 days a week immigration counseling up here. So it looks like soon we will have about 15 employees working up here with full services for the city of Cloverdale. And I think that's going to be really great for the city, for the citizens.
Thank you. Paula Wren.
I have several new ideas, but one of the ones that's very near and dear to my heart is an offshoot of what Marianne was just talking about. One of the things that older adults need if they want to age in place living in this community is help either staying in their homes or a greater variety of living environments that are suitable for them. In-home support services is not able to really help our adults up here because A, it's in Santa Rosa, and B, by the time you need those services, you're not really able to do the hiring and the management of an employee. It's a very involved, complicated thing for older adults to do. I've spoken with our supervisor about this. I want to bring some form of either in-home support services or do some sort of partnering where we can have that service up here for our seniors and it's managed effectively so that they get full benefit.
Thank you. Jason Turner.
One of the things that I would like to do is market the community by reaching out to, as I've said before, neighboring communities to see what successes that they've had. And also I'd like to represent the best I can the voice of a millennial population that otherwise typically is not present within city matters or civic matters for that matter. Utilizing social media is a good aspect of reaching the millennials, and I plan to do even on a personal level, just maintaining a page as a council member, if elected, to keep people apprised of what's going on, and an easy avenue to return comments, share ideas, and be heard. Thank you.
Okay, and this question from the audience, I think we hear this question everywhere around the county. When are the streets getting repaired? Oh, I missed somebody? Oh, I'm so sorry. Now they all have a jump on you. Okay.
I may be old, but I do have a new idea. Something that we are using this evening, which is something we are lacking in our planning commission meetings and our city council meetings, is video. Something that the people can tape and record at home, watch it at home as they wish, have it on the internet. I'm not trying to make our chambers even more empty during our council meetings, but at least the word would get out a little bit easier for everyone to know what's going on in our town. So the new idea would be the video access.
Thank you. Okay, so we're back to the streets. And the first person to get the question will be Melanie Bagby.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question? It's been a while.
Well, the question was, when are the streets getting repaired? Which you could expand a little bit into your priorities.
Okay. Well, whoever asked the question, I would advise you to track down David Kelly, who's sitting right over there, because he can give you the specifics. But sorry to throw you under the bus, David. I think it's a really great question, because if you have driven around Josephine, San Antonio area, and a couple of other areas, it's like this isn't even a street anymore. This might as well be a gravel street, and it's a difficult challenge for a lot of reasons. And one of those, of course, is the declining gas tax. As cars have become more efficient and people have been saving and gas prices have been going down, the gas tax has gone down, and so the money available for it has been less. And actually, one of the organizations that endorsed my campaign is Evolve, and they are a community grassroots organization that is bipartisan and trying to work with folks to rejigger Proposition 13, because that is the root of a lot of our problems. And I think that as a council member, one of the things that I would like to be able to do is lobby for small towns so that we can decouple the commercial real estate rolls from residential real estate rolls. So that we can return tax levels back to the level that we can actually pave our roads. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, you asked a hard question, Susan. Sorry.
Okay, so we're just going in this order now with Marianne Brigham.
My answer to the question basically would be not anytime soon. The taxes from the gas tax are in the tank. There's not much money coming down the pike for any kind of repairs. We save up what little money we do get every year for 2 or 3 years before we can do any stretch of anything, because it's so expensive. Until things are changed on a state, even a county level, we're going to be very slow at fixing the roads. I'm sorry. I wish we could say something other than that, but that's kind of true.
Paula?
Excuse me, I guess I go now. Marianne delivered initial bad news, and she's absolutely right. What is happening here on a city level is happening in a larger way on a state level. And I attended in May a transportation meeting that Mike McGuire had, where he brought all the transportation experts and the heads of the transportation departments for the state and various political individuals. And I kind of left there with my jaw hanging. It's really, really bad. The good news is there are a couple places where Supervisor Gore and Mike McGuire were able to carve out a little bit of money for us, but it's kind of a drop in the bucket. And we were very fortunate to get that drop, and they heard a lot of complaints from people who wanted our drop. So it's pretty dire.
Thank you. Jason Turner?
I would agree that it's difficult, but I think we can always look outside the box at other options of ways to continue to build our general fund, which I believe can be used towards road management and infrastructure. And I would just like to see more effort put towards that as far as generating revenue for the city that can be used at the city's discretion to be able to maybe not rely so heavily on a gas tax or the taxing of the people within. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob Cox?
Currently, gas tax does not provide enough money to even repair roads, much less fix some of the roads we have here in our city, which probably haven't been even touched since they were first laid down. They are really terrible. There are manholes that are several inches above the roadway. But the cost to even just simply maintain a road such as our boulevard is very expensive, and that's in good shape. To repair the old ones would be prohibitive, unless there is someone with the Trump money would be wonderful, but that's not going to happen. I am a member of the California Road Charge Pilot Program, which is looking into an alternative to the gas tax. And that is a program that's going to be about 3 years in activity. They're looking at many different ways of substituting that, and hopefully we will have an answer for that, but nothing anytime soon.
Okay, and Keith, if you could lean into your microphone a little bit, people are having trouble hearing you.
Sorry. I don't know that I can add too much more about the conditions of the roads and what the city can do. They have to prioritize what they spend their money on. And the roads aren't the only issue that we have. Pedestrian safety is a huge issue in Cloverdale right now. We've had several fatal accidents at intersections. We've seen the new blinking lights down at Hillsburg Avenue. But we also have several other intersections that are pretty dangerous, like Tarman Drive, North Street where the kids cross going to Jefferson School, and Elbridge down at the south end of town. The city needs to take a look at those and may end up having to spend money to help an area that is really critical. I know that roads are a pain, but the money has to go where it's needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go back to a couple of questions from the Chamber of Commerce. And we'll hear first from Melanie Bagby. The question is, it's apparent that the Alexander Valley Resort will begin development in early 2017. That will bring jobs and economic development to Cloverdale. It will also create retail opportunities outside of the core downtown and closer to the existing Ferber Plaza. What is your opinion on this subject?
It's an approved specific plan and it's going to happen. That's my opinion on the subject. But it's also going to have a pretty direct effect on our traffic patterns on Asti Road. It might be a good time to re-look at that. And of course, you know, the intersections that it creates are going to have to be studied, and lights and traffic controls are going to have to be put in. But if it does impact the traffic that then happens over at South Cloverdale Boulevard, we already have a problem there. That intersection at, I think it's Treadway and South Cloverdale, everybody knows that that is a real hazard. And so if we're going to be increasing a loop or a U of traffic at the south of town, we're going to have to really address how it then impacts Ferber Plaza and South Cloverdale Boulevard and Treadway. And I am concerned about that. But yeah, it's going to happen because we have a specific plan and it's going to get developed. So.
Okay, we're up to Marianne Brigham.
I say woohoo. So we're finally going to get it. I'm happy to hear it. We've been waiting a long time for that development, and what configuration it's going to come at us with, There'll be plenty of time to sit down and figure out the logistics of traffic patterns, and I worry a little about the impact from the retail down there on what's going to happen to downtown Cloverdale. But that is also, I think, going to be fairly site-specific. So I'm welcoming new business. I'm hoping that it is hugely successful. So there you go.
Okay, Paula Wren.
I also welcome the development. I think if we have people in that development, we have more people in downtown. And even though there is probably going to be some shopping there, I suspect it will be somewhat limited, and they won't necessarily want to stay in the confines of their community all the time. So I think we all will benefit when that development goes in.
Jason Turner.
I see a fantastic opportunity for the city to work with a builder who has a very direct plan that they are confident about, and we need to come to the table with them and ensure that anything that they may need from us, that we as a city do the responsible thing and ensure that the money is fair and that the responsibility is fairly laden. And why not welcome this diverse and unique opportunity to be a focal point within Sonoma County, which is continuously making a name for itself in wine country. Thank you.
Okay, and Bob Cox.
In 2006, when I was on the Planning Commission, the plan for the Alexander Valley Resort was before us. And we were excited about that at the time, and it was unanimously approved in the Planning Commission and at the council level as a specific plan then. Since then, times have changed, but really the idea of that resort really hasn't. It's tweaked a little bit, but we're all still in favor, and we look forward to that happening.
Thank you. Keith?
Usually with a new development like this coming in, especially at this scale, there's much improvement to some of the infrastructure for the city with plumbing or the sewer and water at that end of town. So we do have some things that could improve or could be a big advantage for the city. There's always drawing people to Cloverdale makes a big difference economically. They're not going to stay in one area down there, and they're going to want to look at downtown. We have a beautiful downtown. So I think it'll be a big boost for it in many ways.
Thank you. Okay, and we have a question about city blight, and we'll start with Jason Turner. And the question is, unfortunately in 2016, we continue to deal with several long-term blighted properties and owners who have done nothing to enhance their properties. What would be your approach in dealing with these owners? Are you prepared to use legal tools?
Cloverdale continues to work with anybody who's bringing new development to town to ensure that their lighting plan is thoroughly reviewed. As far as individuals who currently own property with long-term lighting that is affecting its neighbors, breaking down silos with business owners and really just understanding the points of view of both issues to come to an agreement as far as accommodating those that surround them.
Thank you. Bob Cox?
Yes, blight is a problem in all communities, and we see that occasionally in Cloverdale. There's some long-term ones, but with the resources that the city has, we pretty much address them on a complaint-driven basis. Unfortunately, that seems to be a slow-moving way to do it, but without the resources, it's very difficult to go after the property owners.
Thank you. Keith King?
The problem with the blight is it's very expensive for the city to use attorney fees to move forward with some of it. It's a slow process, it's a legal process, and there isn't really an easy way to go about it. We've been involved doing search warrant on some of the blight properties in residential areas where we've had fires in the residentials that they're not tearing them down or fixing them. It's a long-term problem that the city really needs to deal with.
Thank you. Okay, we're up to Melanie Bagby.
Well, I think that the question is really asking about the commercial buildings that are troublesome in downtown, and it's 2016, I agree, but I was tired of it, I was tired of it in 2006, let's say. Have advocated for, have given testimony on taking matters to the next step. There are several steps that other communities have taken. And I don't agree, Bob. We don't have blight in every community. You don't see blight in Healdsburg anymore. You don't see blight in Mill Valley. You do not see blight in places where people decide that they're not going to put up with it anymore. So I think that there are a couple of solutions. When we don't have enough money for attorneys, and Keith is absolutely right, eminent domain is incredibly expensive, but we can actually put in place things like things that other towns have done. For example, pass ordinances that say that any building that goes unoccupied over 60 days starts getting a fee assessed. That's going to get their attention very quickly. And I have some other ideas on that, so please contact me at my website, melaniebagby.com.
Thank you. And Mary Ann Brigham.
Eminent domain is an interesting way to, not interesting, to me, it's a huge step. Politically, for me, it would be difficult for me to agree to eminent domain on any property. It's a step you can take, say, if somebody's going to put a railroad through property or something, then I would say, fine, you can go in and you can do that because it's for the public good. But it's very hard for me to reconcile in my brain taking someone else's property against their will. And I would hesitate, it would have to get really bad. There are a couple properties in town that have almost gone over the top, even for me. But I still really, in all the years I've been on council, I have never gone for eminent domain.
Thank you. And Paula Wren.
On an individual homeowner basis, I know that the city is doing a good job getting communications out to homeowners where they have had requests from neighbors to look into blight in the neighborhoods. And I think it's an effective way to go to respond when it's bothering the neighbors and the surrounding area. That does work. As for, blighted business and commercial properties, First Street breaks my heart because it's just right in the center of our city. And I'm hoping that there is something out there that's discoverable that we have not done that we can try as a city to bring some of these commercial properties along, because I think it will really move us forward.
Okay, thank you. So this may or may not be our last question. How do you distinguish yourself from the other people on this panel? And we'll be starting with Paula Wren.
Okay. Well, first of all, I am not here to compare myself favorably or negatively to my colleagues up here. I think each of them has their own reasons for running for city council and their own talents to bring to that. And their job is to convince you about that. It is up to the city of Cloverdale to discern who the best candidates are. I do think that I have a combination of history with city governance and knowledge and experience that I can bring to this. I have served, on the Council on Aging for Sonoma County. I served under my supervisor when I lived in Santa Rosa on the Economic Development Board. So I have some familiarity with some of the agencies that we need to deal with to bring Cloverdale along. And I feel as though I'm a communicator who can help make a difference in terms of involving
Thank you, your
the
time
community.
is up.
Thank you.
Jason Turner.
I can really only speak for myself here, but as a young man, I really believe that I can bring a new point of view and a new set of ideas to the city council and the way that a city is approached. I truly believe that I can break down silos and collaborate with many of the entities that do not have direct influence within the city, but operate within us nonetheless. And reaching our millennial population via social media and other forms of technology is something that I find myself very proficient at, and believe that we will be able to have a voice for them and ensure that all of our citizens are heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob Cox?
Thank you. As many people realize, I am involved in my community. In addition to the city council, I am a board member of Sonoma Clean Power. As an elected, I'm a director of Sonoma Clean Power. I'm a director of the Russian River Watershed Association. I'm a director of the Sonoma County Waste Management Agency. On a state level, I'm on the League of California Cities Transportation, Communication, and Public Works Policy Committee. I am involved in my community, and I am very proud of the efforts that I put forth to promote my community. Thank you.
Thank you. Keith King?
As I've stated before, I worked for the city for 33 years total. I've put my whole adult lifehood into this city. I've grown up here. I care, I think, about this city more or as much as anyone else out there. I care which direction we go, and I care to be a voice for the people out there that have lived here for many years, that aren't involved with politics, but they do come and talk with me. I've been very approachable over the years, and I have many, many, many contacts. So I do hear a lot of how they feel. So I think I'd be a good voice from the older generation of people that have lived here.
Thank you. Melanie Bagby?
Well, this is a great question. I think what differentiates me from the folks on the dais and from people who have run before is that I'm a technology professional. And I bring a unique perspective and a set of problem-solving skills that I think are especially applicable with the challenges that the community faces today. In addition to that, my experience on the Planning Commission and on the Sonoma County Economic Development Board give me a breadth of knowledge on our government, both locally and regionally, that will make me able to be up and running and serving the citizens of Cloverdale from day one. There isn't going to be much of a learning curve. I know there will be one, but I'm looking forward to it. And so I think that that's what makes me a little different from anyone who's really run for council before.
Thank you. And Marianne Brigham?
I think everybody sitting up here is going to bring something of their own to this office. I don't feel that special in any way. I've just been around for a while, so I know how things work, and I know who to go to when I want to get something done on a county level, state level. I know most of the community, and I care deeply about my city. But any one of us up here could give a lot. So it's up to you guys.
Okay. I think we'll go into our closing statements now, and we'll do them in reverse order from our opening statements. So that means we'll begin with Keith King, and you have 2 minutes. So don't feel you have to stop at the 30-second stop sign. Okay.
Well, I really don't have much more to add. As I've said, I've lived here my entire life. I care about this city as much as I can. I've seen the good, the bad. I know that city government can be improved. I know that there are many good things that have been done, and by the council members that are sitting here that are currently on the board. I just really have been talking about this for many years, about running for city council, and I thought this was the time. I retired 1.5 years ago, and probably been talking about this for 4 or 5 years or more. So, you know, as far as what I can tell you is I will do the best I can to be your voice and do the right thing for Cloverdale, as I always have in my time here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and And we'll go in reverse order. We'll go to Bob Cox.
Thank you very much. Very simple, very short. Again, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters, this Chamber of Commerce, and the Performing Arts Center for having the opportunity to answer these questions tonight. Should you have any unanswered or unasked questions, I welcome the opportunity to meet you after the meeting or at a time that be more convenient to you. I'm asking for your vote that I may continue to serve the community that I love. Thank you.
Jason Turner.
I'm ready to get started for you. I'm ready to hit the ground running, and I'm ready to show you the passion that I really have for this city. I'm really ready to show you the new ideas that I can bring and the innovation that is available to us with our current resources. I'm not here to promise you expenditures until we can generate some revenue. And what I'm asking you for is 4 years of your trust. Will you vote for me and give me 4 years of your trust? That is all I can ask of you. Thank you.
Thank you. And Paula Rend.
Well, I'm not a politician, and I have no aspirations to move beyond our community. I feel, though, that I have something to give here, and it's not that I will be getting anything in terms of a personal benefit. I don't own a business here. I don't have any investment here that would benefit by my doing this. You know, we're fortunate this year that we have a number of citizens who are interested in running for city council. That has not always been the case. You've heard a variety of viewpoints here, and I think it's very important that you continue to look into these individuals and decide who best represents you. A vote for me is a vote for somebody who can hit the ground running, because I have a history and understanding of the operations of our city. I would like for you to take a closer look at me. You can visit my website, paularen.com, to learn more about my ideas for having a more vibrant Cloverdale, and I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. And we must be up to Marianne Brigham.
Thank you. My family and I have been members of the Cloverdale community for over 30 years and in business here for over 20. In my years as a member of the City Council, I've been instrumental in the completion of many projects, including the Bypass, Senior Center, River Park, Clark Street Park, Cloverdale Performing Arts Center, and more. This gives me a strong foundation to continue helping build a brighter future for Cloverdale. I will continue to represent all of the citizens and work to bring them the services they need and deserve. I'm proud to be endorsed by the Democratic Party, State Senator Mike McGuire, Assemblymember Jim Wood, and Supervisor James Gore. I would like to continue to be of service to my community on the City Council, and the main areas of concern for me in this next 4 years will be to continue to provide more affordable housing options, the development of the Times Square property at our central entrance to the city, the expansion of the Alexander Valley Healthcare Facility. That's a big one, and it's going to happen. Bringing Health and Human Services into the community, and a good, solid office. Set guidelines for the emerging cannabis industry in an equitable way, not just for the growers, but for the citizens, for everybody involved. And I'd like to create a can-do attitude for welcoming new businesses into our community. My door is always open, most of you know that, and I'll hear your concerns and your suggestions. So thank you for continuing your support.
Thank you. And Melanie Bagby.
I'd like to thank the League and the Chamber and, of course, the Performing Arts Center for hosting us tonight. I've lived in Cloverdale for 16 years, and I'm a Sonoma County native. I grew up watching how the decisions that we made changed Sonoma County throughout my lifetime. When I chose to put down roots here in Cloverdale with my husband, we have worked with people throughout the region on several projects. Some of these folks have moved on and are now working at the state level, and I'm going to bring those relationships and those resources to the Cloverdale City Council. In the past few years, the people throughout the region have regularly commented to me, wow, Cloverdale has really changed. Cloverdale has really come a long way. And they're right. We do have a lot to be proud of. But Cloverdale, I think it's important for us to know that this is our moment right now. The decisions that we make in the next couple of years are going to affect our collective fortune for decades to come. So I'm asking what you'd like our city to become. I see us stepping into a sustainable future with a thriving local economy. And that's why I'm asking for your vote, so that together we can make this vision a reality. Again, for more information about me, please visit my website, visit me on Facebook, and my phone number is also on my website. Thanks so much for your consideration, and I'm asking for your vote.
Thank you. And I think it's time for all of us to thank all the candidates. And of course, we want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for their sponsorship and the Performing Arts Center here. And thank you to the League volunteers and the Chamber volunteers who were question sorters and runners. Everyone, remember to vote on or before Tuesday, November 8th. And for all things election related, you can visit the League's website, votersedge.org. Thank you, and that concludes the videotape part of the forum.